Hey guys, it's Dan, your host for Dan's Reviews, and today I'm back for another Walking Dead video for today. And in today's video, we're going to be doing another Walking Dead video. This one is going to be doing a video talking about the ending of both the Walking Dead comics and the Walking Dead TV show. And we are now going to discuss which one we think ended better. Alright guys, this one's going to be doing a review of today. This one is a question that I've had several times, and I've had several people debating about this one, and I figured I think it's time for me to do this video, myself as well too. Go through both versions of the end of The Walking Dead, be it the comic or the show, and which one, in my opinion, is better. So, we're going to talk about each ending. We're going to talk about, how they kind of go and, how they kind of end both stories and which one I think, did better. And to be honest, even though I will say that there is one that definitely is going to ultimately be the winner, there are things on both ends of both of these endings that I think some have an advantage in certain things and another one has an advantage in other things. So, it's not one that, completely demolishes another, I'll say. So, anyway. Let's talk about this. So, the ending of The Walking Dead. So, we'll start with the comics, because the comics is the one that ended first, obviously, back in 2019. Robert Kirkman randomly released this picture. Y'all comic readers, you know where I'm going with this. Back in 2019, Robert Kirkman released the picture of this, and he was like, oh yeah, in 48 hours, you can go pick up the final issue of The Walking Dead. It's like, final issue? Like, what the frick are you talking about? You know what I mean? Like, it was like a really major thing, right? So, anyway, Robert Kirkman abruptly ended the comics. Definitely, the show did that better. They warned people. I think, hell, before, 10C started that the show was going to be ending. So, Walking Dead gave people a way better heads up. So, I'll give them that. Already a point for the show. But, in the comics, we had the Commonwealth storyline. Now, TV show versus the comics, when it comes to the Commonwealth, I'm definitely going to give it to the show. I much prefer the angle they took to it with the show, with Lance Hornsby and some of the other things they were doing. I think the show just elevated the Commonwealth arc a lot more, and they made the Commonwealth more of like a group of villains, for a little while. Where I feel like the comics, things only started to really, ensue, per se, in this issue right here. And, you got, this, war that kind of broke out. And Rick gave a speech, which was very, very interesting in the comics, but he did say, "We are not the Walking Dead," which they gave to Daryl in the show, which admittedly I never liked when Rick said we are not the Walking Dead. I never liked when Rick said that in the comics. I actually think it works better in the show when Daryl says we ain't the Walking Dead, I think it actually works because when Rick said in the show that we're not the Walking Dead, Daryl said we ain't them, right? So it's almost like Daryl is still in that belief, now he's addressing it in a bigger situation. So I think in terms of the show, the We're Not the Walking Dead, I think actually I'm going to say, even though it was Daryl and it wasn't Rick, I think the show did it a lot better. I never liked that Rick said that in the comics. I don't know what it was, it kind of rubbed me the wrong way. But anyway, speaking of rubbing people the wrong way, let's talk about the major elephant in the room. The comics killed Rick frickin' Grimes. Yeah, that's right. The comics killed Rick in the second to last issue of the story. This one is called Aftermath. One hell of an aftermath. And they killed Rick. I mean, they killed Rick. Basically, for any of y'all that are wondering what happens, in the comics, Rick gives this speech, and he ends up stopping the wars from happening with Pamela and the rest of them, right? And we get to see later on that night, Rick is, laying in his bed, and he's, whatever, he's, going to bed for the night. And anyway, literally, Sebastian Milton, who still is alive at this time in the comics, Sebastian does not die like he does in the show. Sebastian is pissed off at Rick, and he basically goes in there, shoots Rick, and Rick ends up dying in his bed that night. And the next day, Carl walks in and finds his father, Rick Grimes, zombified and has to put him down. So, embarrassing ending to the Rick Grimes character. Absolutely. I never liked it, and I know a lot of you viewers of the comics and readers of the comics, I know you guys don't like it as well, too. At least I haven't met many people that like the death of Rick in the comics. I know a lot of people don't like it, and myself included. I remember when I sat down and reviewed this friggin' comic a few years ago, I was pissed, and I still am now, I can't believe how they ended Rick's story. But anyway, that's what ends up happening in the comics. It's really, really insulting, and, it's an awful penultimate. I mean, to be a penultimate issue for your comic book series, oh my god, man. That was insulting. Now, here's when things get a little bit difficult. And this is why, like this discussion topic and this video is even happening, is because of this issue. Because let's be honest here. If it was just these two, like these two issues right here, yeah, there wouldn't be a conversation to be had. Like the show would demolish it, right? But here is when the competition comes in. The comics had issue 193, which was the final issue. Now, I don't like that Gimple, or sorry, not Gimple, Robert Kirkman said it very abruptly, like 48 hours, go pick up the final issue, it's done, that's it, you're not getting any more, that sort of thing. But 193, despite the crummy way of bringing it up, this is a flawless final issue. I love it. I love what they do. I love the old man Carl type of idea, the approach, which was a theory that fans had for a long time. And I love it. Carl, he has a family now. He's with Sophia. And they haven't really seen walkers for many years because there's like a big 20-year time jump in this thing where they haven't really like experienced any walkers for a long, long time. And it's a really, really awesome story. And they pay respects to Rick, right? Like the brave guy that, saved us all and then gave this speech. And he has like his own, statue in the town and stuff like that. And Carl is reading to his daughter, talking about, her grandfather, Rick, and, what he did for them and how he gave them this life and stuff like that. And she tells him to read it again, right? And, like, that's how you end the comics. So it's a very beautiful end to the comics. It really is. I really don't know how they got from this to this. I really don't. But that's the comics, right? And I think the advantage of the comics, I will give one thing to the comics versus the show, I'll say, is that the comics didn't set up for a spinoff. It didn't end in a cliffhanger, and it didn't have some of those things that we still have yet to see. Like, when the Walking Dead main show ended, there weren't, not everything was wrapped up. A lot of things were, but not everything was wrapped up. A.k.a. Rick in the show. So, they made sure Rick was wrapped up in the friggin' thing, though, I'll tell you that right now. But, anyway, that's the comics. Now, we move into the show. The TV show is a really brilliant ending as well, too. I really enjoy it. I love that they brought Rick Grimes back. I love that the story is really just coming full circle, and it's, beginning of the show, Rick Grimes is looking for his family, and at the end of the show, Rick Grimes is looking for his family. He's about to go into the city in Season 1. He's about to go into the city in Season 11. And now, also, in addition to that, his family is also kind of, in a way, looking for him. So I really like how that came together, and I love that they brought Rick and Michonne back. That was a major, major compliment I would give to the series finale of the show, and I really enjoyed it, Now, the show also, I would say, is definitely more action-oriented than the final issue of the comics. This is a very chill issue, which by no means is a, like a flaw or anything. Like, that's really good. Like, I'm happy that we got a more chill single issue. We skipped all these years and all that stuff. But in the show, we got to see a major battle with the Walkers and the variants and all that stuff. And we got to see a major final fight. And we also had a lot of character deaths. And, Rosita in particular, that was a really, really sad one. And there was tension all through that episode. Like, every scene was cool. Like, you know what I mean? Like, every scene, characters were doing something awesome. And it was a really awesome, like, action-oriented finale, which I really appreciate. And that's one thing that we definitely have over the comics as well, too. We had a lot of action, we had variants, we had deaths. Like, they really went all out. And that's one thing I'm going to give props for as well, too, to the show. Now, we also have Negan in the show, and we have his redemption arc, and the end of that, and the scene with Maggie, which I thought was way better than the comics. I love how they handled that in the TV show. And, we had a lot of really just awesome moments, like coming full circle. Gabriel, he locks himself inside of the church and doesn't let the innocent people in. Now he is risking his life to let the innocent people in, And they have a lot of callbacks. We Ain't the Walking Dead. Daryl giving blood to Judith, just like Rick did for Carl in Season 2 when he was shot, It's a really, really beautiful end, I would say, to The Walking Dead. They really, really have done it well, and I have no complaints with the TV show finale. I really don't. I know a lot of people have nitpicks with 11/24. I don't. I absolutely love it. I think the way they did it was really fantastic. So, be it that, and now that we've compared the show to the comics, what do I think is better, right? Because it's one thing comparing the final issue to the final episode, But what about the final couple episodes, you know? Like 11, for example, 11/22 versus 191, right? With the Negan episode and all that stuff, and him being on his knees and all that stuff, and the Warden versus Rick Grimes giving a speech that messes up a speech from earlier in the show or in the comics, and you know, he just gets shot and ended on a cliffhanger. Yeah, 11/22 is a lot better than 191, right? And 192 versus 11/23, yeah, 11/23, a lot better. It wasn't insulting like this thing. And 193, though it does end the comics and it doesn't set up for a spinoff, I'm gonna give the win overall. Overall, to kind of finalize this video, I'm gonna say that the TV show wins this category. The comics was way too all over the place. They didn't announce their ending when they should have. They killed a character in an insulting way. They killed the lead in an insulting way. You know, be it a character, but it's the lead, you know? And the show, I feel like they knew what they were doing. They brought Rick Grimes back like we asked, and I think it was definitely a lot more of a epic conclusion, I would say. So that's just me. Let me know in the comment section below. Do you prefer the comics? Do you prefer the show ending? Let me know. And that is it for this video, guys. Of course, if you're new to the channel and you enjoyed this video, make sure to click that subscribe button so don't miss any other videos of The Walking Dead. Make sure to follow me on Dan's Reviews Official, guys, to get more Walking Dead videos like this. And I'll see you guys really soon for more Walking Dead videos. Enjoy the rest of your day, guys, and peace out.
I've heard stories. Walkers that can climb walls and open doors. I was never sure if they were just stories